Hey Graham, how you doing?
Hey Bart, doing well. How you doing?
There's always that awkward moment between the moment I see I'm live and until I can see you. It's like it's always that 20, 30 seconds that the bridge that you have to gap. But no, Graham, great to be here once again. I know that today we have something very exciting, something that the people
We do.
have been waiting for, and something that you and the team I know have been extremely busy with some frustrations that came in between, but now we're here, and I think we have something very special to show, Graham. So I'm very glad, and I'll let you take the lead on what we are going to show today.
Sure.
So yeah, before that,
Absolutely.
let's do a quick round of how things are going on your side. I know that you are working with the tech team on lots of different things in lots of different departments. You know, obviously the EU platform that is almost finished and ready for takeoff. The blockchain, obviously, that you're working on. something that we're going to show today that you've been working on, and obviously lots of other things as well. Things like the NFTs, obviously you've been working on, but you've also been working on platform for the UAE that's going live, the US platform. So how are things progressing on the tech side and all the different verticals that you need to manage and put together?
Sure, absolutely. Well, as you know, we have many different projects ongoing simultaneously, and we're handling them with the team, and we're growing the team. So, like you said, I mean, we have a ton of different things we're working on. We're working on the VARA compliant UAE platform, right? That's making good progress. We, of course, have the web application that everybody knows, right? At app.estatex.eu. And like you mentioned, we're going to be having another exciting offering come on there for the EU market very, very shortly. And we are working on getting all that stuff lined up and arranged. We're working on the main net currently. We're still working on the test net, doing upgrades to the test net. And, I think it's important to point out that the system that we're building, this RWA ecosystem on the blockchain, it is not just an Ethereum clone like BSC or some of these other things, or a Bitcoin clone or some very simple blockchain clone. It's a very complex ecosystem that is innovative. It's new, and it has a lot of nuances to it. And when we're developing on this, we're doing it in a way to make it easy to use for external developers, right? But it requires a lot of internal work to get all the components functioning correctly, right? So on this thing that we're going to be showing you today, it will look somewhat unfamiliar if you are familiar with ETHScan.io or like BSC Scan or something like that, or Polygon Scan. But it's important to remember that, with any type of innovation, there is a little bit of a learning curve to it. And it is our goal, it's my goal, it's Bart's goal, it's everybody at the company's goal to provide everyone with a little bit of education and tutelage and mentorship, and basically provide a very easy, seamless transition to this new blockchain ecosystem for everyone, right? And right now, besides what you're seeing with the testnet and all this other stuff, we're working on developing developer tools so that external third parties can come on, develop on our chain. This was a lot of the impetus behind launching this testnet right now, so we can get that testnet out there, get it being used. It is being used. You'll see that shortly, and provide a on-ramp for developers to actually start utilizing the ecosystem. And that's really the main goal here.
Amazing. I mean, it's so impressive to see how you're handling all these different verticals and all these different things that we have, and obviously with the aggressive roadmap that's laid out is absolutely necessary. But it's also just great to see that it's actually finally coming to fruition step by step. And as you know, is now another step that we're laying in the way of testnet and obviously the RWA blockchain mainnet that we're going to be launching, and that part of that step is obviously the block explorer that we promised the community that will go live, and we have taken a little bit longer to make sure that it's absolutely optimized and it's beautiful, it's perfect, it's very easy to use, to understand. Everybody can now start interacting with it and seeing, blocks being produced in real time, and lots other things. So without further ado, I'll give you the stage to show what we've been working on, the layout, the design. I've been speaking with the tech team a little bit, and I've been able to put through a little bit of the wishes of me and the team and the marketing and from you and what the tech team wanted. And I think that the end result that we now have is something that we're all very proud of, and it looks beautiful.
Absolutely. It's honestly, so Bart just told you we're going to be showing you the Block Explorer. It's really exciting. We've been working really hard on this behind the scenes. And just so you guys know, this isn't the final product, right? We believe in continuous innovation and continuous improvement, and this is just the beginning. So you'll want to be checking back. You want to be looking for future improvements. But honestly, the way it is right now, it's great. So without further ado, let's show them, Bart. So I believe I am sharing my screen. If that could be admitted into the stream. Here we go. Okay.
Here we go.
So here it is. So all you guys have to
Oh.
do to see this.
Just a quick round of applause. Beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you what, the hard devs working behind the scenes that aren't on this call right now, that's a part of the EstateX blockchain team, they deserve a lot of credit, because it's them, not only just me, that is putting in a lot of hours, a lot of late nights, a lot of sleepless mornings, and we're making progress. But anyway, if you guys want to see this, all you have to do is go to estxscan.com, and this is what you will be presented with. So what you are seeing right now is the dashboard. And you will see at the top of the screen that there are different components and different tabs, and we'll be going over these tabs one by one. So the dashboard is basically kind of an overview, and it allows you, there's a search bar at top. It allows you to search for block hash, block number, transaction hash, address, and call data. And we will be showing you all that shortly. We also decided to add on the 2 widgets to show the ESX price, and we're all excited because it's going up. We're all happy about that. So let's do this. What we will do before we show each one of these search features, well, maybe we should show the search features first because we're on this page, and then we'll go through the other tabs. So let's do this. Let's first search for a block number, because that's easy. So right now, I believe the blockchain is at, let me check here. We're at block almost 303,000. Okay, so let's search for 302,000. So we're going to enter in 302,000. We're going to hit search. It's pulling the data up for us. Okay, here it is. So this is what we can see. We can see.
So Graham, it might be me, but I don't see anything. I don't see anything happening on your screen at the moment.
I see something occurring. Maybe we can get somebody else to let us know in the stream if they can see what's going on.
Yeah, let me check in.
Let's see
it now. I see it now.
You see it? Okay, great. Maybe it's just a delay.
Yeah, could be.
Okay. So we can see right here, we're on block 302,000. We can see that there are a total of 7,728.5122 ESX transferred in this block. Now, what you will see over on the right-hand side is basically an event count and a transactional count. So it's important to note that the runtime itself will issue extrinsics. So in extrinsic, we have some terminology here that we need to explain to everyone because it's nuanced to this system and it's different from Bitcoin or Ethereum. So an extrinsic is basically a something emitted externally, submitted to the blockchain. It can be signed, it can be unsigned, cryptographically signed, that is. And if it's cryptographically signed, it's from basically an account. If it is unsigned, it would be from the runtime itself. And there are many different types of extrinsics. You can see one right here where basically the time was set for the block, right? But for this presentation, we're mainly going to be concentrating on transactional extrinsics, right? So you will see over here, there were 17 transactions in this block. You will also see the term, as you're looking at this block explorer, event. An event is basically an accepted extrinsic that was recorded on chain, right? So you have incoming external outputs, and then you have basically outputs from the chain that they have been recorded successfully. So you will see here basically some additional block information. Here is the hash of this current block, the parent block, right? The next one that was formed right after that. And if we go down the list here, we can basically see all these different transactions. So we'll look at the first transaction. We can see that it is you can see the extrinsic hash right here. So that is also basically known as the transactional hash. Okay, it's they're the same thing, right? You will also see on here the amount of ESX that was transferred. And we have 118.67. So you will see the withdrawal, balance transfer, the fee paid, and that the transaction was successful in the system, successful extrinsic. So you will see that the fee for this transaction was 0.63. Now, there is the ability, if you are interacting and submitting transactions to the network, to include a tip, which is basically an additional fee to try to get you priority in the block, right? So when the network is really bogged down with transactions and you want your transaction to go faster, all you simply do is submit a tip on top of that transaction. So right now, who issued this transaction obviously did not include a tip, right? But you will see that in other transactions. So that is, if you search for the block number, that is what's presented. So let's do this. Let's go back to the dashboard. Let's search for a block hash. And I have one recorded here. This will be the exact same block we just saw. But we just put in the block hash, we searched for it, and it also pulled up 302,000, right? So you can search for block number, you can search for block hash, you're presented with the same information. You can search for one or the other. Let's go back to the dashboard. And now let's search for address. We'll do transaction hash in a minute. Let's search for address. So let me paste in an address here that I have pre-recorded. And this will show us the ESX that this account holds. So you will see account information over here. There's the address. You can click on that, right? It shows the complete address. You can copy it. The total amount of ESX in the account, the amount of ESX that is transferable. So it is almost 510,000. It's 509,604 in some odd sense. And here also, it will show you the free balance, available balance, reserve balance, and the current nonce of that account, right? Which is basically a sequential identifier for basically how many extrinsics have been done. So we can search for another address here, and we'll see how much is on this other address or account. Address, account, it's ubiquitous. Okay, so we just search for another one. You can see here 309. This one has 391,631 ESX. You can see that the nonce value is different. So let's go back to the dashboard now, and let's search for transactional hash. So let me get one. We're to search for it. Well, hold on a second. We're gonna go to another block. We're gonna pull up a hash and we're gonna paste it in. So let's go to block 300 and what block are we on now? We're on 302.90. Let's go to 302.900. So let's search for that. I probably copied the transactional hash incorrectly. Okay, so here we are. We can tell we're at 302,900. We are going to pull up a transaction here. We are going to copy this. We are going to go back to dashboard. We are going to paste this in, and we're going to see what it shows us. Okay, so there we go. We pulled it up now. Okay, so you can see on this transaction that we just searched for that under transactional details, you can see the from account here. If you click on that, a little pop-up will display. It'll show you that the sending account has 77,188 ESX. You can see that the account that received it, the to account, we'll click on that one. It has 396,346 ESX. And you can see that on this transaction, which was included in 309 or 302.900 block, that 455.1855 ESX was sent. So we can look over here at our encoding details here, and you will see basically some technical information, right? You can see the nonce, you can see the tip, right? So this person also sent a transaction with no tip on it. It still has the actual fee, but there's no priority tip to it. So that is kind of a general overview of if you search for transactional hash, what you will see. And then I will make one more comment here. If we go back to the dashboard, you will see on this list, this drop-down list for searching, you will see call data down here. We are still working on call data. We almost have it done. We're currently building an application in the back end to allow us to search for that. And that will be live very soon. But that basically allows you to search for the data that would be encoded in an intrinsic. So basically like a function call. If you have the data for that, you could search for that. So that is a general overview of the dashboard tab and the different search functionalities that are currently available on the search bar. So Bart, do you have any comments before we go on to the other tabs?
Well, I think obviously I'm very biased, but I think what Graham and the team try to make here and to bring to you guys is like a block explorer that's even more sort of extensive and gives you even more information and better to use than a normal Ether scan or BSC scan would have. Something that's more inclusive, that gives you more information, it gives you also the technical details, that gives you also, to see immediately a pop-up of how many ESX the wallet holds, so you don't have to go through, click and then click there, and then maybe you get confused. It's very easy. It's way more easy to track all the transactions, the wallets, how much does it hold, which belongs to what. So we basically just wanted to point it out there that no questions from my side, but more like a comment that Graham and the team have really worked extensively hard on this to present something that has a great layout, that is easy to understand and easy to use, but is also way better to use and easier to use, gives you more information on the statistics and the things that you want to know and what people are looking for within this block explorer. So obviously it's my biased opinion, but I think it's one of the better block explorers that you will see, just because of the easiness of the functionality that have been programmed in there.
I think that's very true, Bart. And I will say this too. Myself being a developer, and the developers that are working on this, we are trying to also not just create a block explorer, we're trying to create basically a dev tool, so that developers coming onto our ecosystem, they have some, and that are interacting with the test net, right, programming on it, submitting transactions on it, they have some place to come to where they can get technical information. So we're trying to kind of combine the best of both worlds here. We're trying to make something that is user-friendly, and we're trying to make something that is also suitable for developers, where they can get that deep down, in-depth information that they need to do debugging, to do programming. And it's a funny story. We had this done a while back. I showed it to Bart, and Bart goes, "Graham, this is very technical." I said, "I know." I said, "We're coming up with brand new stuff." He goes, we got to make it more easily to digest." I said, "Well, that's very true." So we try to make it a little more easily digestible for everyone, right? Because we want this to be a place where people can come that are not only technical, but that are also learning and in the process of expanding their skill sets to be able to use our ecosystem. So we're really trying to make this a best of both worlds scenario for everyone.
And I think that's it. I think it works really well. This is obviously what we wanted to show you guys. We'll be updating everyone, because we have a conversation right after here about all the NFT stuff that the people have been asking for. So we'll get that very shortly. And without further ado, we just wanted to show you this. This is now interactable with on esxscan.com. Graham, I hope I didn't interrupt anything that you still
That's
want
okay. Let's show them some more stuff. Let's show them a few more things. Okay, let's do it.
I'm in the driver. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm in the
passenger seat.
Second seat here. Yeah, the passenger.
That's right.
I'm the passenger. Okay. So I'll let you do your thing.
So let's go to chain info. Let's go to that tab. Okay, because that kind of gives you kind of a holistic view. This is a little more digestible for most people, right? So what you will see here is you will see on the chain info tab, you'll see the latest block. Okay, they form approximately every 6 seconds. You can see the target for block creation is set for 6 seconds. You can see when one is created, it'll increment over here on the latest block. So we're currently, see, there you go, it just incremented up 1. In another 6 seconds, it'll go to 43. And you can see over here who is the validator of that block, right? What validator created that block? So we will click on that validator, and it will say this validator has 70 million ESX in it. So most of the validators, I believe 11 of the 12 have 70 million ESX in them. One of them has less just because we were using it for testing. You can see the total issuance up here. So on the test net, we started with 7 billion. We burned some in testing. You can basically see your session number, which has to do with finality. And you can also see your current block that you're at right over here where it says best, 303, 48. Now it's 49. So on the latest events right here, okay, so this is where you see the differentiation between extrinsics and events. So events have basically been accepted on the chain. So you will see that basically balance transfer. So you can see that in block, the latest block, 52, there were 54 transactions in it. You can see the little 54 button beside it. Maybe it's not updating in real time on this screen. It should be. It is on mine. But if you look at the multiplier number where my mouse is, that shows you the amount of transactions in that block. So we're having quite a bit of activity on our testnet here. We have 54 transactions, 9, 18, 21, 10, 10, 5, 6, quite a few here. So we have transactions going on it, which is a good thing. Block details, you will see basically what you saw previously when you looked up a block. That's not any new information. We already presented that to you. We will go to latency. Let this load for us here. Okay. So this tells you the kind of a summary of statistics of our blockchain right now. So we have an average block time of 6.6 seconds, standard deviation of 1.8 seconds, minimum, maximum, and last, basically seconds for block creation. So you will see a little hiccup here in the thing. That's to be expected because we have a validator that's currently undergoing maintenance right now. You can see here on block size, last 50 blocks, basically the size in bytes in each block. So the more transactions you have in each block, the bigger it will be because there's more data you got to pack into it. So this pretty much follows. We'll scroll down a little bit here, and you can see transactions in the last 50 blocks, and you can see this follows each other pretty much to a T, right? Yeah. So our average transactions per block right now, it's about 13. It's about 13. And then you can see events in the last 50 blocks, and we also have an average here of about 50 events per each block. And it'll show you system events and then total number of events per block. So this is kind of just a general summary, so you can get a general idea as to what is occurring on the test net, right? How many transactions are being put through, block sizes, status of validators, status of blocks being formed. We can then go to node info up here. It'll give us
just to interrupt quickly, you know, for the people wondering, like, how come the activity on the chain? This is because we are testing this with all kinds of different entities, people that have signed up to the blockchain, the companies that have signed up to the blockchain, but also our internal team that is testing this through different sorts of activities, etc., etc. So to make sure that we, you know, get the errors out, to make sure that we get it debugged, to make sure what works well, what works not, what sizes can it handle, you know, the speed of throughput, stuff like that. Just to make sure that it is all functional. And from here on, when we identify, you know, the potential errors, the potential issues, we obviously can resolve that and make sure that it's ready for testnet, see what can be improved, what can do, what is already good, you know, what needs more attention. And basically by operating with all those groups, those people, those entities, our internal tech team, we can make sure that we have the absolute best version that is going to be ready for institutions to tokenize on, for new RWA projects to build on, that can handle severe amounts of TVL, obviously, on the blockchain, which is destined to be, which we've already signed up. So even with the testnet guys, you haven't seen anything yet. It's going to go very, very wild once the mainnet launches. But just to give a little bit of background on currently what's happening and the testing activity that has been done on the testnet.
And you will see as time goes on, Bart, that the transactional amount on the testnet, it's going to go up because we're going to be ramping up our testing and our benchmarking and additional software, and you'll see the transactions really ramp up here. Also, a good point, because we are on the node info page, you will see that we currently have 11 nodes, 11 validator nodes, right, that are connected here. We are going to be expanding the amount of validators on the network, right, and we are going to be upgrading the validator code, right, and the node code here in the next, I would say, few weeks. So if you come back and you visit this page, you will definitely see more validators on the network. And then once we get that done and we open up for community members to become validators, you will also be able to see, if you're running a community node, yourself listed in here as a peer. So right here, what we see is, like I said, basically connected peers. You can tell that they are validator nodes because it says authority to the left-hand side of the address. You can then tell what block each validator is on its last update connection to this basically RPC node. And then if you go down, it will say pending transactions. Now we'll let it refresh here, and you'll see this will update here in a second. Okay, so it just refreshed. So now we have 7 transactions in our queue. You can come down here, you can see all the different transactions basically. And if you click on them, it'll give you additional information. It just refreshed again, so they went away. But if you click on it fast enough, it'll give you additional information, right? One of the last things we probably want to show on here is API stats. This is kind of interesting stats for the RPC node and for the Block Explorer. So you can see a number of requests made. You can see here bytes transferred, right? So you can see kind of further back when we were doing more stuff, we had a little more activity, right, when we were actually interacting with the Block Explorer here. But you will be able to track basically the bytes transferred and the actual API calls to the actual Block Explorer by going to this page, this API stats page. And I would say that's a pretty good summary, Bart, of all the features. And check back soon, because we're doing a lot of work in the background. We're working 24/7, 365. Bart knows, right? He calls me. He goes, Graham. He called me this morning. He goes, Graham. He goes, I hope I didn't wake you up. I said, Bart, I don't sleep.
That's
So anyway,
yeah.
So check back often, frequently. You'll see new updates. And this is really exciting. We're really glad to get this live. And we hope that it's a very beneficial resource to not only developers, but also to the general community, so they can come on here and they can get a better idea of what's going on with their testnet.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, Graham, once again, I think you've explained it very, very well. It looks very good. So well done to you. Well done to the tech team, obviously, that have been working relentlessly to get this live. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the EstateX Block Explorer is live. Go visit it, go check it out, go test it, go see what's happening in real time at www.estxscan.com. And you can test it out and form an opinion for yourself. Obviously, we'd love to hear what you think and any improvements that you might have, so we can put that back to the tech team and see if that's anything that is very useful for us to use. And if it is, obviously we won't hesitate to implement it, because we're always interactive with the community. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the start of something that's going to be revolutionary. The EstateX chain, obviously going to mainnet towards the end of the year, where we'll be signing institutions to tokenize on there, and then the TVL there can go up really, really fast, rapidly. Also with the property offerings that Steve Craigs is now doing, and also the wheel offerings that we'll be doing. Obviously next month we are going to go live for our own property offerings for retail investors and accredited investors in Europe and the US. So very, very exciting times. And all of those assets, whether that be white label technology from institutions, or whether that be our real offerings, or whether that be our own property offerings or new projects building on it, it all counts to the value that's on the blockchain, the total value locked, and eventually also to the activity with all EstateX at its core. So very, very exciting stuff. And yeah, Graham, anything to add to that for a closure?
I would just say, onward and upwards, EstateX for life. We're making good progress. You guys are going to be amazed in the future. If you could see what we see behind the scenes, it would knock your socks off, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I had a conversation. I was so it was I think 2 days ago. I was I was meeting a guy who is like a community leader, but also that we work with. Very great guy. And I was speaking with him, and I was giving him a little bit like behind the scenes info, because we're working together. You probably know who I'm speaking about. And he just said like, oh man, it's such a shame that you can't tell like publicly all the things that are in the works and things that are already closed that are going to be coming out in this year and the coming months, because it's so big, but people do not realize yet, and it's hard to not tell them. It's so hard.
I think the real beauty is we're finally, putting rubber to the road, and we're making progress on getting to the end vision, right? The end vision of the company and the true purpose of the company, right? Democratizing finance, providing the ability for everyone, you, me, our friends, to basically our community members, to improve their life through the software, right? And that was the whole original ideology of cryptocurrency. When I first got started in cryptocurrency in 2012, that is why everyone got involved in it. We were all ideologues. We all held that true
Yeah,
conviction of being able to help people with technology. And I think that's been lost in a lot of these communities. And that is the true hallmark of adoption. It's fulfilling that ideology and providing actual use cases and actual transformative technology that can really help elevate people's lives. And Bart, you see it behind the scenes. I see it behind the scenes. We're making good progress. We have that EU offering that's going to be coming on that we're working towards. We have the VAR compliant platform. We have additional upgrades to the web application and technologies on that. And once all these technologies, once they're actually able to start publicly being showcased, and actually utilized more so by the general populace, I think that is really going to be, at least for myself, very fulfilling.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think for all of us, right? Speaking lately with some big people, but also something that we have as a ideology basically within the team itself is token price is great, and everybody in crypto now, especially with the people that came in the last 4 or 5 years since the last bull cycle, that they're all sort of they have that print in their brain of quick pumps and price action, etc. But price action always should be a great, and it doesn't work like that in all cases, I understand that, but it should always be a case of the real utility and the value that you bring. And I think if you put out enough value and you combine that obviously with the proper marketing, the proper foundational things, and the proper price action, you will see that good pricing of the token, etc., is a natural consequence of adding the value and doing something good in the world, which is obviously indeed, like you said, the ideology of crypto, and also the reason why we started EstateX, why you got in crypto in general, but also in EstateX, the mission, the ideology that we
Mm-hmm.
have. You will
Mm-hmm.
see that once everything is live, and obviously you guys know us, we're I say that with all humbleness, but we're marketing wise, we are proper and we know what we're doing, and we have the good people around that. So yeah, I'm just very, very excited for what's coming. And indeed, I think, like you say, Graham, the price action is a natural consequence which will come of the real value that we will bring. And then, also if you think about the 20 to 35% of the utility inflow that's going to be there, then you'll see that eventually happening either way. But seeing us now already with the big community that we have positioned in the token and the attention that we're getting, and the big people following us and the institutions that we're signing up, we're making waves, and I'm really excited for the future.
Mm-hmm. We're going to get towards that point, Bart, where we see mainnet go live, and we see those multiple L1 chains, and we see the impact that it's making on the community, not just the cryptocurrency community, but the communities that we all live in, being able to help people. And it's really going to, it's going to be a great thing, and that is why I joined the company. It wasn't for the money. It was because of the vision, and that's why we all work so hard. It's, we all like making money, but it's mainly the vision that we're working towards, and seeing that transform other people's lives. So,
and that is ultimately going to be the most satisfying thing that there is, right? Being able to
absolutely.
make sure that you can and really change people's lives in the way of giving them tools that they never had, giving them the opportunities, giving them the functional tech, the being able to put other companies in the right position, being able to help institutions transform this, which ultimately also assist in us opening opportunities to everyone. So it's all a big catalyst effect. And obviously, I think the focus and the purpose is the main driver of that. So yeah, man, such a great team we have. Okay,
We are,
enough.
and we're building the team out with that vision, right? We're integrating that ideology in them. The people we hire, they believe the same thing, right? So, we're really forming a wonderful team, both on the business side, on the marketing side, on the development side. We all have one vision, one purpose, one EstateX. That's what we're doing.
Beautiful. And with those closing words, I'm gonna end it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Once more, if you want to test it out, go to www.estexscan.com. Also, on a quick side note, Graham has seen now his sticker that he got in the community, his own emoji, and he feels like his life mission is completed now. He can now
It is. After I complete transforming finance and democratizing finance through ESX, then I can now die a happy man because I now have my own emoji. So thank you. Whoever created it, thank you.
I'll make sure to reward him. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all your attention. And Graham, thank you also for your time. I know you're very busy and you need to get back. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Go to www.esxscan.com, test it out for yourself. And we will see you on the next stream. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
See you later, everyone.